Welcome to the Business of Apps podcast. We invite app industry professionals to cover various topics. We promise to do our best to keep it both insightful and brief. In this episode, we have Tina Kim, Director of Product Management at Huckleberry Labs. Tina, welcome to the Business of Apps podcast.
Hi, thank you for having me.
This is great. Thank you for coming. Okay, we're going to move forward with setting the stage first. So today, we begin with another trivia question for you. Can you think of the best case study for A/B testing? Are you thinking about a particular app, service, or product? No, it's bigger than that. I'm talking about the evolution of life on this planet. No, there's no girl or guy sitting with a MacBook Pro and running A/B tests for all flora and fauna on this planet. My point is that testing is very fundamental, and it will make you feel a bit more important. You're doing along with Mother Nature. To talk about A/B testing for driving app growth, we invited Tina. Before we dive into this topic, can you tell me a bit about your tech background?
Yeah, certainly. So I got my undergraduate degree in computer science. Worked out after college as a software developer for several years, and then after that, I switched into sales engineering. And so as a sales engineer, I was working with CTOs, architects, explaining our technology, helping solution engineer. And that was a bit of fun for a few years before then I switched into the product management space. And as a product manager, I was helping to deliver products on both web platforms, TV platforms, mobile apps, working with firmware as well as software.
Well, this is great. You basically touched every piece of the puzzle. Now, tell me about Huckleberry. What do you guys do?
Yeah, so Huckleberry is working to help families, every family flourish wherever they are in their stage of parenting. Um, we have a mobile app which is rated, number one, Apple's best app for parents. It is a number one tracking app by Consumer Reports. What you do is you use it to track all aspects of your child, whether it be sleep or feeding, tracking your pumping, logging a high temperature, what have you, and that's just the basic part of the app, mental offload to help keep track of everything about your kid. But then sort of the smartness comes in where we give you reports, trend analysis on your data, as well as surface interesting insights related to your child based off of your data, based off of the child's age, and sleep predictions. So we predict when is the optimal time that your child will be ready and primed for that next nap or bedtime. And we want to support families wherever they are. And we've even recently launched another app called Magic Steps, which helps create fun little adventures, personalized adventures for your bedtime routines and your good morning routines to make that process of getting up in the morning or going to bed or whatever task it is that you have.
Wow, I cannot think of more important app for all of us. We all have kids, like the entire planet. So I guess my only question will be on top of your description, just out of curiosity, is there a kids upper limit for tracking? Because some kids, you feel like you should continue tracking them in their 20s, 30s. So what's the upper limit?
Well, that's a part of what we're trying to still expand our value prop, right? So we really support the younger age kids at this point, but we are continuing to look to support you from cradle to college is what I've heard and quoted before.
Okay, college sounds good. Now pension, not that late. Now, okay, we all know this feeling when you're rolling out your app product in the market. It's just like you're jumping on a train, and how fast you move is important, and yet you cannot sacrifice an A/B testing. It's a must for your app. So, in a fast-paced product environment, How can teams use A/B testing to make more confident decisions while avoiding reliance on subjective opinions or assumptions?
Yeah. So A/B testing is really useful for when there is a shadow of doubt, so whatever you A/B test, it's not some idea that you've picked from the air. It's always based off of some well-informed hypothesis, whether it be analyzing your behavioral data of your users, or you've done some user research, market research as well. There's always some well-informed hypothesis that drives you to build something, right? We think if we change the color of a button, we're going to get more clicks, because we see low engagement with the button on the website, for example. So you come up with this well-informed hypothesis, but you may have folks within your company who really cast doubt on your hypothesis. They don't believe in it. And A/B testing really helps you move forward faster. Um, by A/B testing, it's a controlled environment where, let's say it's like a 50-50 split, you know, you say we'll test this, only 50% of the audience will see this variant. So there's less risk that we're releasing to 100% of the audience something that people might not believe in within your company. And so it helps you move forward faster, where you're not constantly trying to argue and prove that this is the right thing. This is a hypothesis that we should pursue. You say, hey, you don't believe it, but we'll A/B test it, and we'll see with the data. And I'm not saying all A/B tests are successful, but there's definitely learnings from every single A/B test. And so by being able to say we'll A/B test it, I have been able to move forward with some hypotheses, and some of them have been very successful. Not all, but you always learn. The other thing is where A/B testing can really help you move forward faster is during the development process, the design process. There may be countless arguments about the perfect copy. Some people are very particular about copy, and we may spend like endless cycles just trying to perfect the copy, but that's not the point of the change. Let's just test it. And A/B testing is iterative, and so you find something that you feel good with. It doesn't have to be perfect, and you test it and move forward. And if you feel like there's opportunity to squeeze more juice, test it again, right? And so I've been able to move forward faster with the tool of A/B testing in my pocket whenever there's been doubt in some hypotheses or arguments against certain parts of the implementation being pixel perfect or copy perfect. And so that's where I've really seen A/B testing help me.
So essentially, you're saying let the data speaks. You always have to remember that no matter what app you're working on, there's a team around you, real human beings with their prejudice, with their biases, and unless you have some tool to reconcile all this set of assumptions and biases, you're just going to be spinning the wheels, and the progress forward will be very slow. So A/B testing is your saver actually to move forward quickly, efficiently, and avoid doing mistakes that will be costly after the product is on the market.
That's right. I will also add a word of caution though. While A/B testing has helped me move forward faster in different initiatives, A/B testing does take more effort in terms of implementation and testing and then waiting for the results. And so when you A/B test something, you're essentially building it, right? You're not saving development costs. And actually, it takes more development effort because once you finish your test, you do have to clean up. You have to clean up that code that partitions into the two variants, right? And so that's a little extra work. And then when it comes to support, um, you are supporting two experiences. And so that is more support needed from your development team to maintain that code, and a little bit more support, brain power for your support engineers and your support agents to know that there are these two experiences. So it's just yeah, it's a great tool, helps you move faster, more efficiently, but it comes with a little extra work.
I totally see what you mean.
Yeah.
Now, like I said at the beginning, these days timelines for app production can be very tight. And so, what strategies would you recommend for ensuring that A/B tests are designed effectively to generate actionable insights, especially when dealing with limited resources or tight timelines?
Timing is critical, I will say. Um, Unfortunately, I've experienced moments where the timing was not ideal for A/B testing. And so my advice is when you consider running an A/B test, consider where you are in the calendar, in the cycle of, um, are you in peak seasonality period? Sync with your marketing team. Are you going to be running an A/B test during peak seasonality when marketing is doing some big campaign and promo? Because that if you run a test during a period of abnormal behavior, like non-typical user behavior, your results are going to be skewed. And even though it's 50-50 partition, right? Like both groups, control and variant, will receive the same marketing, LCM and messaging, their behavior will be different. And so your results may be washed out or slightly different. Like user behavior will be different. And so in terms of limited resources, tight timelines, make sure the timing for when you do your A/B test is right. Otherwise, it will unfortunately be wasted time and effort and inconclusive results. The other thing I'll say is when you consider what to A/B test, think about it with tight timelines as well, right? Consider how long it will take for you to reach statistical significance. If it's going to take you months and you've got a tight timeline, you won't get your conclusive results. And so, not everything should be A/B tested. When you A/B test, think about the high traffic, high volume areas, high engagement points within your app experience. And then you'll get to your statistical significance much faster and then can make those decisions off of the results. Yeah. And then uh, I think one other bit of advice is there are common parts of the app that you will typically iterate on and change constantly. And so that would be like your paywall, for example, or maybe key call to action buttons or headlines. And if you know you're going to be iterating and constantly testing those parts of the app, high traffic, high volume parts of your app or website, consider making those elements configurable so that you can quickly iterate and change copy and test different things.
Got it. So, what's the right scientific term? Confined variable? Something that is actually changing, but you are not aware of that. In this case, you should be aware of that the behavior of your app users is always on the move. It's not static, it's not stable. And you can only A B test your product. You cannot really A B test the same people. You cannot tell them how they should behave. You're rolling out your app and their behavior is uncontrollable. So that's a very tricky part, as you're saying.
Yeah. I'll throw in one example actually of unusual, different, not unusual, but different than normal user behavior. I unfortunately ran an A/B test during a high marketing period, my marketing promotional period. And we noticed that purchase conversion went up, obviously because marketing is running a promotional campaign. Um, but it washed out the results of purchase conversion in the control and the variant because across both conversion was higher, and it was difficult to tell, is it was the variant higher because of the marketing, or was it higher because of the changes in the variant experience, right? And so it kind of like washed out the impact of the changes, and it took longer to see the variant differences and reach that statistical significance. During the marketing period, users are being flooded with information and product education. And so it was really hard to tell, is the variant actually winning or not?
Yeah, I totally hear you what you mean. That's really tough to tease out the actual. What was the actual reason for that difference? Why were you seeing the results going up and down? The actual reason, not where we're thinking it's should be going, but what's the actual culprit in that case? Now, running an experiment doesn't mean to get what you wish for. On the other hand, A/B testing often reveals unexpected results. So, how can teams incorporate learnings from failed experiments into their overall growth strategy to drive continuous improvement?
Yeah. Um, I would say failed A/B experiments are not failures as long as you can learn something from it. And the key is to take every learning from your A/B experiment, kind of like put it in your back pocket, document your results, because each learning is something that you can iterate on. A/B testing is compounded, right? You take all of your learnings and then you iterate, and you come up with some new hypotheses. So we learn in one example, we changed the headline and image on some, convert page with where we're trying to drive conversion, and it was a failure. The image wasn't that image and copy change didn't work. But surprisingly, the difference in purchase conversion from that page was significant. Like the variant failed significant, like by a lot. And so the learning there was, hey, like this is a high conversion, like this image and headline does make a big impact. And so even though the variant failed, we learned that actually this is a good place and opportunity to continue to iterate an A/B test because we saw such a stark difference. And that image and headline does matter significantly. And so that's like taking that learning and then applying it to your next A/B test variation. And other times it's taking your learnings and then just like combining them all together to put together your story. It's like a puzzle, right? And each A/B test is like a piece of the puzzle, and you put together, your story about your users. Yeah. Um, but yeah, I think it's also worth noting that sometimes the failed experiments are not because of your variant failing, but rather it's the timing was off. Like the previous question about, when I mentioned the timing matters. And so you learn from those failures and learn how to better run your A/B test. But hopefully you listen to the podcast and you don't have to, experience those failures firsthand.
Yeah, of course. That's a great insight, Tina. You always have to try to learn from mistakes made by others, but your own mistakes are unavoidable. That's just given. Only if you do nothing, you do not make any mistakes. This is so true.
Mhm.
All right. I hope people listen very carefully and will put into work the hints and tricks they picked up from your insight. But we're going to move forward with the second part of the show because it's your first appearance on the Business of Apps podcast. Here comes a few quick questions that I guessed every newcomer on the show, so we all can know you a little bit better. Here you go. Quick questions. What smartphone do you have now? Have you been switching back and forth between iOS and Android, or staying one side consistently?
So I currently have iPhone 14 Pro. Um, Back in the day, I was switching every couple of years between Android and iOS, actually. And both were great, but eventually the network effect caught up. Majority of my friends and family were on iPhone, and so I've been sticking to an iPhone, for the past several years. And I would always complain when my Android friends would send me an image or video, but now recently with RCS, it's gotten a lot better.
Yeah, so finally that gap was bridged, and no more problem with sending back and forth texting between iOS and Android. Let's take a quick jump into the past.
Mhm.
What was your first mobile phone?
So my first mobile phone was a Sony Ericsson. And actually, I refused to get one. I refused to get a cell phone for so long, but my mom could never get a hold of me. Got tired of leaving voicemails, and so she insisted I get a phone, and she bought it for me because she wanted to get a hold of me. Um, and now I can't go anywhere without my phone.
This is great. I think you're the first person on the show who gave me the answer on this question with Sony Ericsson. And funny enough, that was my first phone back in the day. I think I vaguely remember how it looked like, but that was Sony Ericsson. Okay, back to present. So imagine you left your smartphone, your iPhone 14 Pro at home. What would be the most missing feature when you're out?
I have left my phone at home before, and so I can definitely go back and think about those experiences. And and the thing that I would miss the most is the basic functionality of the phone, which is just the communication aspect, being able to contact other people and people being able to contact me, and always wondering, oh, is somebody trying to reach me, right? I have two kids. One of my sons has a peanut allergy, and so I'm always worried, oh, like I always have to have my phone on me in case there might be an emergency at school, or at his activities. Across the two kids, there's a lot of coordination and carpooling, and so I across all of the sports activities or after school and or school. So I always want to have my phone on me for any of those emergency situations or last minute scheduling changes. Yeah.
Got it. So that's communication, staying connected.
Yes.
Now, when you look at your iPhone 14 Pro, can you think of anything like hardware or software feature that would make that thing a better tool for you? And I'm not specifically asking about anything you can hear in the news, something trendy or other people are raising, but probably there's something for you specifically that will make that smartphone a better tool for you.
Hmm. Hmm. Um, so for my phone, I primarily use it for two main things. I mean, despite all of the other entertainment aspects and other utility apps on my phone, I primarily use it for communication and secondarily for taking pictures. And it would be great if my phone had the same capability of the Samsung flip phone, where you can easily prop it up and just use hand gestures to take photos. My sister-in-law has a Samsung flip phone, and she just folds her phone into a stand, and she puts her hand up for like 5 seconds, and that it starts your 5 second countdown. And so I think those hand-free gesture experiences would be great when it comes to taking photos. Because my arms are not that long. It's not always the most attractive angle when you take that selfie.
I totally hear what you're saying, Tina. Taking selfies with your phone in your hand, not always a great idea. You're trying to pick up the best angle and you realize you cannot extend your hand longer because it's not a it's not as thick as your hand. You cannot extend it as much as you want.
Mhm.
All right. Before I let you go, very final question. how can people get in touch with you and get more information about what you do?
Oh yeah. So you can find me on LinkedIn. You can look up Tina Kim at Huckleberry Labs. Find me on LinkedIn. I'm always happy to share learnings with others about A/B testing. I actually really enjoy it. Hence, participating in this podcast to talk about A/B testing.
Absolutely, Tina. We're going to put all contact details into the description of this episode so people can get in touch with you. All right. Thank you so much for coming on our show and sharing your knowledge and experience. It was great.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tina.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Art.
Bye bye.
Bye.
And that was Tina Kim, Director of Product Management at Huckleberry Labs. To listen to more episodes, subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube podcasts. Just search for Business of Apps and you will find us easily. Remember, we release episodes on Mondays, so subscribe and you will be able to get new episodes on your smartphone, tablet, or computer as soon as we release them. And please don't forget to leave us your review or comment on iTunes. It is highly appreciated. And all episodes will also be available on businessofapps.com. Thank you for listening. See you next week.